Good morning, Facebook. It's Matt Ward here with the Mass Networking Show, part of the Mass Business Connections group here on Facebook. Thanks for joining us. If you are new to our group, you'll see that we love doing these Facebook live sessions, interviewing people. So make sure you interact with us. And to do that, you're going to want to make sure that you click the link in the very first chat, which is to authorize StreamYard to pull your image in and your name so that we know who we're actually chatting with. So my name is Matt Warren. I'm a professional speaker, a word-of-mouth referral consultant, and an area director for Amsphere Business Connections, which is a single-seat networking group whose purpose is to pass referrals right here in Massachusetts. And today we got a couple of great guests for you. We're going to talk about that. But first, thank you so much for being a member of our Facebook group. If you're watching on YouTube, we'd love to have you join us over there. And you can do so by coming to facebook.com/group/mass networking. As a reminder, we're a networking organization, not a sales organization. So don't come to our group and just post a bunch of spammy messages about your products and services. We get enough of that going on a regular basis. Again, you can interact with us by clicking on the very first link in the chat, which I posted there, which is streamyard.com/Facebook. Now, on to today's guests. Joining us today, we got Lisa and Landry and Dale Shadbegian. Welcome, guys.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us. These guys are members of our Facebook community. They applied to be on the show, so we're glad to have them. And they're right here in beautiful Massachusetts. The weather's been great the last couple of days. Hopefully, you guys have been out getting some sun. Every time I get on video camera now, people are like, wow, you got a tan, Matt. Doesn't help being on the boat or out on the ATV or actually just sitting on the deck, finally, instead of snow. I feel like it stopped snowing right when COVID hit.
Yeah, it seemed like it. That's when it started not being as problematic to be outdoors. So
do you think maybe from a conspiracy theories perspective that maybe the two are tied together, COVID and snow?
Doubt it.
Yeah.
Never snowed on Cape Cod, so...
Yeah, there you go. Not a bad thing. All right, we're going to drop Dale off here, and we're going to have a conversation with Lisa. Lisa, well, welcome to the show. I'm excited to have you on and learn a little bit more about what it is you do. So why don't you tell me, as well as all the viewers and the people in our Facebook community, what it is you actually do?
Sure. So I'm an attorney licensed in Massachusetts, of course, and Rhode Island, and I practice in the areas of trust and estates, tax, and business law. Those all have in common planning. I really focus on proactive planning to prepare, protect, preserve clients, their loved ones, their businesses, and their assets. I make it a very comfortable process for people. I want people to be informed and be confident that they're making very deliberate choices. And then the other half of my practice is carrying out those wishes and administering whatever plans they have.
Have you seen an uptick due to COVID in estate planning?
There has been. It's been kind of interesting. It's been, up and down a bit. When things first hit, people started thinking, oh, that's something I should think about. And we got calls, but not as much follow-up. And then as cases started to slow down a little bit here in Mass, more and more people contacted about planning, which is obviously good because more people are planning, but I think it's a combination of people realizing the need for it in a pandemic and being home and realizing we still haven't done it.
Yeah. So it's tough. It's tough. I'm a huge networker, right? So there's certain industries that are tough for people to talk about, right? I mean, I can't walk into a networking group and go, hey, you need some weight loss? Hey, yeah, you need a hairdresser? Hey, you need a clothing person? Because it just comes across all wrong, right? And as such, I can't be sitting at a backyard fire on a Friday night at my house and be like, hey, you need a will? It's just awkward, right? And so, can you real briefly maybe teach the average Joe who's watching, the average Jane who's watching, how to introduce the conversation about this?
Sure. So I think the best way to introduce it is more so to talk about how it's affected you personally. I know a lot of people who have done it who said, oh, I was going through my parents' estate or some relative's estate and found all these problems. So I started, talking to attorneys, and I realized I need planning. It's not just about death. It's about taking care of things during my life and making things easier for my loved ones. And a big part of my practice is really trying to make the tough topic easier. And, you're always going to have a couple of those meetings where somebody is in tears thinking about it. But I really want to make sure that we're looking at it in the positive light of you're being proactive, you're taking care of everyone here. And realistically, you're saving people not only the money, which obviously is an important aspect, but it's the burden, the time, the emotional burden of things.
Gotcha. Now, who would you consider to be your ideal client?
Sure. So I do work with a large range of people, but I love educating people and doing the complex planning. So people who have or are thinking of starting a business or a nonprofit and have some sort of complex planning need are really my ideal. Now, complex doesn't mean ultra high net worth. Sometimes it's, the young professional who's single and starting a business and has a negative net worth because of student loans. Or it can be a family who has somebody who's special needs involved. I really just like working with people early on and making sure the relationship can grow over time.
Okay. And then on the flip side about referral partners, these are the people that may never do business with you, but send you repetitive referrals over a long period of time. The type of people you really like to connect with. Who is an ideal referral partner?
So I work with a lot of financial planners and CPAs who send me, the complex stuff that's kind of above what they do. But the group that I'm working on right now is really coaches, because potential clients who don't realize that they need planning might be going to coaches and saying, okay, I'm starting this business. What should I do? Or I'm trying to fix things in my business or in my life, my career, whatever the type of coaching is. And that's a chance to connect with people who need planning, need the education about why they need the planning. And it also helps me connect with coaches because some of my clients could really use them.
Yeah, for sure. So when you talk about connecting, what do you like most about networking?
I love hearing people's stories, seeing how their careers have evolved, how they have, because very few people are saying, oh, this is exactly where I plan to be at this point, X years out from school or X years out from whatever point in time they got credentialed. I actually really like how networking has gone remote in the pandemic, because I don't think it does create more efficient networking. I'm able to connect with more people because, I can jump from one Zoom call to another, but it's really more open and people are more vulnerable with it, which forges a deeper connection and it starts building the trust sooner.
It's interesting you say that. It does seem that people tend to be a little bit more open and more vulnerable on the Zoom, and I don't know why that is. I wonder if it's just in person we're trying to protect something, or we're just not being. We're trying to put on a show or something. But it seems like with Zoom, because we're not in person, I guess I don't know. I guess we could just hide.
Yeah, I think it's some combination,
right?
You don't feel like you're somewhere out and about. You're at home or at your office where you're really comfortable and you're not in a big crowd of people.
Gotcha. And so then on the flip side of that, what do you dislike about networking?
Well, it's actually kind of connected to what I like about it being remote. I have a really tough time trying to build those long-term relationships because, as you mentioned, my field is not one that people love talking about. So it's kind of a chicken and an egg situation where to build the relationship, you want to work with the people, but to refer somebody to someone, you want to have the relationship with them. So it's a tough balance to get to.
Yeah, I was on a networking call this morning and I gave a small piece of education, which is stay the course, which we have to stay the course because so many times we do networking and we feel like we're getting nothing from it. And it's weeks, months, even years later that something fantastic happens because of a relationship we built over the long term. And it's the trust that takes such a long time to build to get, because everybody has had a different level of trust by which they refer. So somebody will, with just a little bit of trust, refer, where other people, they need a lot more trust to refer. And so that is a challenge sometimes. It can, I've been known to get frustrated with networking, and I love networking. So
yeah, it's definitely it's tough, and I think everybody approaches it differently, as you say.
absolutely. So you mentioned that you love doing the virtual networking stuff. I imagine you'd be open to connecting with CPAs, financial advisors, those partners inside our group who want to do a Zoom call. Yes?
Absolutely. I actually have Zoom set up for later today with one of the people from the group. So
Nice. Very nice. So definitely, if you're interested in building and forging a long-term relationship with Lisa Ann, then you can do so by reaching out to her and adding in the comments here on Facebook. You guys can connect. In fact, just share your contact information that you want to share.
Sure. So my phone number is 617-600-7900. And my email is landry@landrylawpractice.com.
Great. And Lisa Ann will put that also in the Facebook comments once the video is done, so you can follow along and reach out. And we'll bring her back on in just a few minutes. I think it's important to note some of the things that she was talking about vulnerability and trust and referrals and relationships, and they take time. And some people like doing things in person, and some people like doing things remotely. Everybody has a different style for networking, and it's up to us to figure out what our style is and what other people's style is, so that we can find the right matches. There's a lot of people, a lot of financial advisors out there. There's a lot of estate planners. There's a lot of CPA people. And at the end of the day, you don't need them all. You just need a few. You need a few great relationships. And so if you talk to 10 ideal referral sources, maybe you'll get one that you really hit it off with. That's the goal of trying to do some of these networking things with partners, is that you weed through the chaff, and you find the right people that are going to fit with you. So we're getting ready to bring up Dale Shadbegian, and we'll talk to him about his business. But don't forget, we want you to stay active and involved with us in our Facebook group every day, but especially on our Facebook Lives, where we're asking questions of these people, and we'd love to see your comments and highlight them on the screen. So again, make sure that you click that very first comment so that you can authorize StreamYard to participate with us in this Facebook Live and future Facebook Lives. If you're watching on YouTube, we'd love to have you join us again in the Mass Networking and the Mass Business Connections group on facebook.com/group/mass networking. And in joining us now is Dale Shadbegian. I'm going to get your last name wrong just about every time. I think I probably have said it 4 different ways, 4 different times I actually said it.
I actually am not sure how to pronounce it, so I couldn't tell you which way is correct or wrong.
Oh, that's fantastic. So why don't you share with everybody what it is you do, Dale?
So I am the CEO of Cape and Plymouth Business Magazine. My previous company I was with for a long time, 118 Group Web Design. So my background is information systems, web design, and marketing. And at the magazine, we have a monthly print magazine. We're the only business-focused magazine on the South Coast. So our real center of influence is Cape and Plymouth, and we kind of go up to Braintree, sort of go down to New Bedford, and we hug inside Route 3. We don't head towards 495. We really focus on business content, right? So educating, connecting, engaging the business community, highlighting what's going on. We used to offer a lot of in-person events that were really exciting, and obviously, that's not happening. We're working to redefine ourselves, and I'm not sure where that's going to play out. But right now, we're really focusing on the community, reaching out, building bridges to other organizations, chambers, networking groups. We want to be this hub of business information, community calendar, highlighting networking events. That's really one piece of it. I think what really makes us special is the content we produce. We have great writers and great photographers, and they're really bringing these really amazing stories of local businesses to out to the masses. We've really been focusing on digital, right, since I took over in January. And a really big piece of what we're offering now is we offer marketing services to businesses who are kind of successful, but they need to get out there more. They need to be viewed more as an expert. And one of the big focuses right now is getting people found in Google. And then once they're found in Google, sort of helping their potential customers find this other really great content that they're writing and really demonstrating that they know what they're doing. So I know that's a really long-winded version of it, but it's a kind of a unique offering that we can have for people.
Right. So when you from a business perspective, who is your ideal client?
That's a great question. So I think, at first thought, you might think maybe a startup who needs a lot of marketing. That's not a great client for us. I think where we can really help people is if you're a freelancer or you're a small shop and you have some success, you've demonstrated some success, and you're looking to grow your business to the next level. That's where we can really help. The areas that we can help with often businesses haven't started yet with it, whether it's a newsletter or we have a massive social following. Even if you're outside of our area, we can introduce you to new businesses in our area who might need your expertise. Those are our core businesses. They, I don't want to say they're well-funded, but they've got some marketing budget. They've got some ways that we can really invest some of that time and money and get their business out and help them get to that next level. And
so in order for the folks in the group to help understand who to refer you to, sure, who are like your ideal referral sources, the people that would bring these ideal clients?
Sure. So, we partner with a lot of marketing companies who do, are branding specialists, or they do promotional products, or, more agencies. So real technical, we produce content and get it out to the masses, or we can take content, massage it, get it out, and then we get people found on Google. So SEO, right? Those are really basic things that we can help an agency with. We are not come and sit on my couch and tell me all your problems, and I'm going to design this program that's going to make you rich and famous. So those types of people who really want to listen to a business, say, okay, here's your audience, here's what you want to do, here's the verbs you want to use. That's
a good referral source would be like a marketing consultant.
Marketing consultant who doesn't
actually refer a lot of clients over from their they're already working with the ideal client that you work with, right?
They are, and they are telling the client, look, you need to get found in Google, or hey, you need to get published out there and demonstrate some community visibility. Those are really our best clients. What I find is people call me and they just want to get found in Google, right? Who doesn't want to show up at number one in Google? If you're a business, that's kind of like, that's a request I get all the time. Where we add it is, if you're a remodeler, right, you can't just get found in Google. People have to trust you, right? So businesses where that person has to establish trust, we can help develop an online presence for that business so that when people are doing research on making that hire, they're finding really good things about you.
Gotcha.
That makes sense?
What do you like most about networking?
I think because of the clients we're looking for, they're looking to take that next step in their business. They're really looking for a lot of specialty services, and I love to connect people to those services, right? So a lot of them are looking to hire a bookkeeper, estate planning. They might not have certain types of insurance. They're taking that step to growing into new areas. And my favorite thing about networking is giving them a name that I trust, right? If they're hiring me to help be a part of their team, I don't want to say, I'm sorry, I don't know a good bookkeeper. I'm sorry, I don't know a good, this type of lawyer. I want to be able to bring people in that I know and trust and be part of that. We're
so
really
you like having a solid set of contacts.
Solid, right? Because if that company is doing well, if I'm referring good people to them and I'm doing a good job, they'll be a client for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, because now, I mean, your trust increases when you refer great people, for sure. I've seen that time and time and time again. And then on the contrary side, what do you dislike most about networking?
Okay, so this is a tough one, right? I'd say internally, I'm not consistent about it, right? It's a goal of mine this year. I need structure, right? So when I have a project, I have a system that guides me through the whole process. There's really no structure to networking unless you apply it for yourself. So I'd say for me personally, that is something I don't want to say I dislike, but it's hard. I got to have that structure. The second thing is, I think some folks put too much time into the beginning to see if there's a natural synergy, and it has to be natural, right? So if you and I are talking for 15 or 20 minutes and it's not clicking, there's no need to continue it another hour and a half, right? So, I said I didn't want to say it, but I'm being brutally honest with you.
No,
Let's face it.
I think that is so funny because so many people, and then so we need to. Oh man, I should do a whole Facebook Live on how to get off the call, right? Because that's a challenge. And you want to do it in a respectful way. And sometimes the most respectful way is to be like, hey, look, Dale, we've been on here about 20 minutes. To be honest with you, I'm not seeing the similarities or the alignment, and maybe I'm missing it. Are you feeling the same way I am? Okay, cool. Let's just call it here. It's no hard feelings, right?
I can't do that.
I know, and nobody can. That's the problem. So what happens is we stay on for an hour and a half.
Yeah. So I think the other thing I like about networking,
always set your one-to-one calls, your initial one-to-one calls to 30 minutes. By 30 minutes, you should know if it's a good fit.
I think for me, when someone starts with their war stories, right, and you're just not feeling it, that's a problem. But every once in a while, like I had that, I don't want to say we had a connection, but within 5 or 10 minutes, I was like, this is someone I can align myself with. We traded stories. Yeah. That's when you're like, okay. And you said this before. I call it my centers of influence. I've got about a dozen people. They take me wherever I go. I take them wherever they go. It doesn't mean I don't want to meet someone new, right? Because people move, they go out of business. I'm always looking to meet new people. But I think finding that synergy is really important. And, like I'll say it. There was a guy, John, he's in this group. We had a great call. We were trading stories. It was a great call. He's like someone that's been on my mind, right? They happen. And it just, like I said, it just has to be natural.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, I think that's the thing with relationships, right? Because like, it's so funny. There's so many synergies or parodies or statements that are made between business relationships and the dating world. And it's like, oh, well, you wouldn't do that in the dating world, or you wouldn't jump right to marriage in the dating world, right? And there's so many sales analogies to the dating world. And the funny thing is in the dating world, if it's not working, you excuse yourself to go to the bathroom and then you never come back. Or you do the date and then you don't even have dessert and you move on and no one ever meets up again. And I think that too often we're so afraid of hurting people's feelings. That's why I firmly believe that 30-minute conversation is just enough time to get to know somebody and to see how you're flowing with them. Because if the flow isn't there, it's going to be painful. And so then what will happen? And to your point, Dale, is it won't become consistent. It'll become a happenstance. And
I don't want to dwell on it saying it happens often. If I just had to pick
often enough.
If I had to pick one thing I don't like about it, that would be the one thing.
I think you're the one that's voiced it. I mean, I'm willing to bet you everybody I've interviewed on this show so far that's a problem for them, but they just haven't necessarily articulated it. And I will tell you, the more of these sessions you do with people, the more of the networking sessions you do online, the more of those you're going to run across. That's a percentage game. It's a numbers
Sure.
game, right? If you're going to meet 100 people, you're going to find 10 of them like that. If you're going to meet 10 people, you're going to find one. That's still 10%. So,
Right.
yeah, I mean, that's the good and bad of networking. Well, I know you're doing a lot of networking. You said you met somebody on here, so I imagine you're open to doing Zoom calls with people from the group.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think you can meet enough people, and I think as professionals, we need to meet more than one person, right? So I might have a photographer. Well, you probably need to know 2 or 3 of them, and I like to refer. I don't do the one-to-one thing. I know there's a lot of groups, like I know BNIs, for example. There's a lot of one-to-one relationships. I believe in referring a couple of people. My centers of influence, I say, hey, you can know 3 SEO guys or 3 credibility builders. Refer them all and let them pick who they like. If they like the other person better than me, that's great. What matters is that person's taken care of, right?
So share your contact information with people in the group so that they can get in touch with you.
Sure. So we are capeplymouthbusiness.com, and it's Dale at capeplymouthbusiness.com, and I will also put it in the Facebook comments.
Very cool. Thanks for joining us. We'll bring back Dale and Lisa Ann in just a few minutes. I think Dale's point was right on. It's like, there's, and this is why I ask the question all the time of these guests that we have on the show. What are the good things you like, and what are the not so good things you like? And it's less about, as Dale said, dwelling on those things, and more about just bringing them up to the surface, knowing what the challenges are and knowing how to combat those challenges. Consistency is something that Dale mentioned as well. And consistency is a challenge for everybody. Just like you have a to-do list, a checklist, a plan of action for something, you also need to have a networking plan of action. You should be doing enough networking to generate new relationships, to stay in touch with the existing relationships, to build and fortify your centers of influence, and primarily focusing on your referral partners so that you get consistent referrals on a regular basis. Remember, I wrote in my book that the average client refers 1 to 3 people over a lifetime, but the average referral partner refers 1 to 3 people a year. And that's why you want to focus on referral partners. We're going to bring in Lisa Ann and Dale. Thanks, guys, for coming on the show. We greatly appreciate it. It was good fun. This is our first Friday show in the Facebook group, so we'll make sure that we interact with all your fans going forward. I know you guys are going to end up with a bunch of different groupies from our Facebook group. They're going to be commenting all day long. They're going to be tagging you. Make sure you interact with them, and we'll keep the post going alive in the Facebook group. As a reminder, the Facebook group link, if you're not already in it, it's facebook.com/group/mass networking. We'd love the interaction. It's been a lot of fun. We've grown it rapidly in 6 to 7 weeks. We're up over 950 people. Our goal is 2,500, and we will be doing in-person networking events. And I've already talked to Dale about partnering with the Cape and Plymouth Business Media about these things in the future. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll do some stuff all over the state. When regulations and safety permits, we'll be doing those. And maybe, just maybe, we'll be doing a huge online networking event coming up this fall for everybody to participate in. But that's it for today. So until next time, don't forget to live happy, smile a lot, and high five everyone around you.
Bye, Lisa. Bye, Matt. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks for having me.